Hey guys, welcome to another episode of English Idioms with me, Teacher Tiffany. All right, for this week, as always, we're going to be learning 3 new English idioms. So let's jump right in and go to my screen. Here we go. All right, so we're going to look at the first one. So I want to open it for you guys. All right, so the first English idiom that we're going to be looking at is head in the clouds. Once again, head in the clouds. Now, this refers to when a person is not paying much attention to what is happening around them and has their attention or on their own thoughts or their heads filled with unrealistic ideas. So I'm going to show this to you. Right now, I'm teaching you a lesson, right? But if suddenly You see, suddenly I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. I'm not teaching you guys. I stopped paying attention and I started to think about other things. So I had my head in the clouds. Now, another thing we use is daydreaming, but we're looking at head in the clouds as our idiom for right now. So, first example. Lolita has her head in the clouds if she thinks she will win the tournament. All right, so again, remember it means not paying attention to what's happening around them or only paying attention to their own thoughts, or finally, filled with unrealistic ideas. So according to this person, Lolita does not have any chance of winning the tournament, but Lolita thinks she's going to win it. So she has her head in the clouds, okay? All right, next. He has his head in the clouds, okay? Again, he's not thinking realistically. And finally, you always have your head in the clouds. This person is telling them, hey, you need to think more realistically. You're thinking about things that are not realistic at this time, okay? All right, let's move on to our next idiom. Highbrow place. All right. Now we're gonna replace, the word place with another word. That was kind of a tongue twister. All right. So highbrow place. Now, elite and generally carries a connotation of high culture. So again, highbrow refers to something for the rich, the famous, or the superior, or the elite, someone who has lots of money. Okay, we say highbrow, all right? Now, here's the example. The Ritz-Carlton, a very popular hotel here in America, is very expensive, is often identified as a very highbrow hotel among consumers. Remember I said we're going to replace the word place, I did it, with another word. So we replaced it with hotel. So again, the Ritz-Carlton is seen as a very highbrow or elite or for high culture hotel. All right. All right. Our next example. They invited me to a highbrow party. Okay. You understand that one? And finally, this is really a highbrow establishment. Okay. So again, something that is very much rich or feels like it's for those who are rich or those who are in the high culture and have lots of money. That's the establishment or the place that the individual is going to. Okay. All right. Now let's go to our final idiom. His bark is worse than his bite. The person's actions will not be as severe as the things that were said. Now, this idiom comes from, of course, what barks? A dog. So I want you to think about a small dog. Usually tiny dogs bark a lot. Very loud and they bark a lot, but they're very small. They really can't hurt you. Maybe they'll bite you and it may hurt a little bit, but they can't hurt you as much as a bigger dog can. So again, that's kind of where the idiom came from. His bark is worse than his bite. It's really not that bad. Okay. So let's look at some examples. Here we go. Uh-oh, it went away. It's all right. We went backwards. So we're going to go back. Here we go. Number 1. The boss seems mean, but his bark is worse than his bite. This means that the boss is actually not mean. He just seems mean. Next, don't be scared of him. His bark is worse than his bite. Okay. All right. Story just popped in my head. When I was in high school, there was a girl at our school and she was trying to be a bully. So she was trying, notice I said trying to bully me. She would talk a lot. So one day I got a little upset and I was tired of her talking. Never did anything to her. I was tired of her talking. So I talked back and I said, "Why do you always come at me? What do you want?" But immediately she backed up. Like I told you guys with a small dog with a big bark, they act like they want to attack you, but the moment you go towards them, they back up. So again, nothing happened. There was no fight or anything, but I realized, her bark is worse than her bite. So she never bothered me after that at all. But again, she had a big bark. Okay. All right. And finally, your bark is worse than your bite. So you can just actually use the idiom as it is. Okay. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Remember, as always, in the comments section, make your own sentences or scenarios using the idioms that we learned in this lesson today. All right. I want to see the examples you come up with and I'll read them and correct them. Okay. All right, guys, I'll talk to you in the next episode.